here on stage we have Lori Guzman, who created Squirrely Showdown. Thank you for being here. Once again, another Klamath Independent Film Festival tradition, bringing out the puzzle shorts.
You know it. It's the best opportunity.
And also we have Nina Oberlin, who is one of our board members of Klamath Film. Nina has a film in our online exclusive blog that is an animation. So we did not watch it here in the theater as part of this presentation, but she does have an animated film that we highly recommend you go check out called The Ascending Spirit. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Joining us as well is Katie Prentice. Hello, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And Zach Margolis is also joining us, who has also been with our festival previously. And not only did Zach create an evening with Father, which we just saw, but Zach also did the animation work in Stories We Could Have Told You as well. So
it is amazing to be here.
He did animation work on 2 of the films that we just saw. So thank you, all of you, for being here. We are huge fans of animation, and we're blessed this year to get so much animation, more than what we usually get. And I couldn't help but think that maybe that was a result of all of us collectively having 2 years stuck at home trying to think, maybe we'll finally tackle that giant animation project we've always wanted to do but never had time to do it. Was that the case with any of the projects that folks got to work on?
I mean, having that time did help. But you know, I attempt to make movies regularly just so I can submit them to KIFF.
As a reminder to our audience, we have a microphone here and a microphone here. You are welcome to walk up and ask a question to any one of our filmmakers. So, Lori, let's touch base with yet another film in your suit, and also I appreciate the shirt too. The fact that you also got the Squirrely Showdown shirt thing. You have been a part of Klamath Film for many years, and at one point you randomly decided to combine your love of jigsaw puzzles and try stop motion animation just because reasons. And you have carved out your very own unique niche subgenre of film, which you may be the only one out there, as far as we know, that is making jigsaw puzzle stop motion films with squirrels. Why?
Why not? No, I think it's trying to find a way to storytell and do it in a new, novel way. And it just so happens that I like squirrels, and these stone carved squirrels came into my life in early 2022, and I like jigsaw puzzles, and why not put them together? Creates a great way to tell a story, and it was a lot of fun, creating the props and the costumes for the squirrels, and just to see that come about and actually see the film come to life, as well as doing some proof of concepts of some 20 to 30 pictures, stills putting together. I mean, it just it's just really awesome to see it come alive.
And each year that you've made these films, we've also seen your skills progress in stop motion. I've told you many times, I adore stop motion animation. I don't have the patience to do it. I don't have the patience to take thousands of photos. So how, as your skill set as a stop motion filmmaker progressed over the course of being involved with our festival?
Well, I use a tripod now. So my first stop motion, I didn't. So I did about 700 squats in a day weekend. I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, no, it's definitely, you do have to have a lot of patience. I'm a very detail-oriented person, and so this sort of, it's, I enjoy it, as well as I don't have to work with other people. And so I can just sort of really focus in on how I want to tell a story, how I want to be creative, and I have a lot of control and autonomy on that. But yeah, it's just, I might have lost my thread on what the question was.
That is sorry. Nina, let's go to you in terms of The Ascending Spirit. And again, those of you who have an online pass are filmmakers. Anyone who has a full festival pass, you can access all of our online exclusive films, which includes Nina's. So give us a little description of this project. It was a student project, right? Or something for school related, or what was the original concept?
This one was actually not a school project.
Okay.
A friend of mine that I've worked with previously on the school project.
Okay.
He approached me and asked if I would create a music video with some artwork that his friend created. So it was kind of a collaborative effort. His friend is a brilliant painter and has been for many years, and unfortunately had a stroke a few years ago. So everything you see in the this hemisphere is like where I made images, digital images, and then Sean created them with AI because he's disabled and can no longer paint. So it's kind of a cool journey through his artwork and the music, the inspiration of the music with that artwork.
Wonderful. And Katie, hello, thank you for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about your film and the initial concept for it. Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the pandemic and being stuck at home because I think part of gamers' idea came from my child being stuck at home and gaming being his access to his social world. And it just really elevated the idea of kids gaming and how it can be really good for their mental health. Um, but the basic idea for gamer is just that we have the ability to choose our perspective. We don't always have the ability to choose our circumstances, but how we respond to our circumstances is in our control. And I just wanted to use that through a kid using his gamer imagination.
As a gamer myself, I thoroughly enjoyed your film and combining the virtual world with the real world, augmented reality and whatnot in a sense, but treating the mom as the final boss battle and the little nods to gaming experience like that is a very beautiful touch. So thank you for creating that film and bringing a little levity to the video game world and parents who say turn that off and go do something.
Yes, it's a very real experience that I've experienced myself. So I have the two part of like seeing a kid using my own imagination and perspective, but also being a parent who is like, am I supposed to be afraid of this or is this good for my kids? So it's been a really fun project to explore all of that.
Wonderful. I see we have a question over here.
Hi, yeah, I just had a question for Zach. You mentioned that you also did the animation for stories we could have told and the evening with my father. Those are so wildly different concepts, and one's very dark and one's very lighthearted. So I was just curious, how do you balance those two like polarizing animation styles in your regular like design way?
I think so. My career has mostly been working with other artists and trying to create whatever they're visioning. So my job and my life has sort of been to be a little bit of a Swiss Army knife type of animator who can do a lot of different things. And my own work kind of also shifts a lot. I think the medium of animation in general is kind of best when you're pushing an envelope and trying new things all the time. And although I don't think either of the projects in this case are breaking a lot of new ground visually, it's for me, it's definitely pushing my boundaries to try all these different things. And I'm, just I think always pushing oneself to just try out stuff. And yeah, the question what was for stories we could have told you is what is child's like storybook type of animation look like. So definitely very different than that grotesque bath that you guys were all just subjected to. So different visions call for different styles, I guess.
And speaking of styles, Zach, let's touch on an evening with Father a little bit because the style of it is very much so in the stop motion realm. Was that physical stop motion or was that digitally created to resemble stop motion?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. It's digital, I'm afraid. I'm kind of just a stop motion wannabe animator. So But yeah, it's all 100% inside the computer.
Okay. And Nina, let's come back to you because in addition to the project that you worked on with your friend for the Ascending Spirit, you are also a puppeteer largely, and it's what you're studying for, which very much so falls in line with animation. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're studying and working in puppeteering?
Currently, I'm learning how to build and carve marionettes. Puppetry has always been like kind of a passion of mine. I do stop motion animation as well. So it's been a lot of fun. Right now, I'm getting my PhD in art theory and philosophy, which I'm using towards puppetry because it's been around for like over 4,000 years, and it's an art form that's kind of gone up and down. You see like resurgence and then kind of disappears. So I'm trying to help and be part of the movement to bring that back, as puppetry is a nice art that everyone gets to enjoy.
Wonderful. And Lori, your ongoing work, do you have concept for the next adventure of squirrels and puzzling at this point that we'll be able to see next year perhaps? Or is that still enjoying the fruits of your labor for this one before delving into what you're going to do after the Western-inspired squirrel showdown?
Well, I might have a second film in its final cut. Um, yeah, no, I think it's good to continue working on projects, especially if the public is seeing it, just to be working on something equivalent of like a film writer's block, if you will. But no, yeah, I don't know how many short films I will make like this, but at least right now I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's really an interesting, fun way to tell a story. And yeah, definitely have learned a lot through the process and continue to learn. And I think that's like a really cool dynamic of film is that it just has that opportunity, and there's a lot of resources either through kind of film or asking expert filmmakers or even just finding on YouTube and then like trying it out, especially in like the editing software program. Like that's not my major skill set, but I've learned quite a bit through that. So.
And incorporating your love of puzzles. I did thoroughly enjoy using puzzle pieces as blowing sagebrush. That was a very nice touch to have puzzle pieces blowing through your Western set.
Yeah, that was actually, it was a good idea. It's actually a lot harder in concept because it looks like sand. It's actually a foam piece, and given the weight of the squirrels, it actually would shift. And so those tumbleweeds, I call them tumbleweeds, but they kept falling over. And so that actually made it really hard to have a consistent shot as they were going across.
Katie, let's touch on gamers casting because your film was different style of animation. We saw some CG, we saw some hand drawn, we saw some stop motion. Yours is accentuated, I guess we could say, by some animated elements, but it is still a live action film. So, how did the production process and casting for this, finding the right kid in particular, I think would be the hardest element to find the right one who can bounce between the virtual world and the real world so seamlessly, right?
Yes, yes, yes. We had a wonderful experience with our casting and got a lot of really wonderful, talented kid submissions, but it was a little nerve-wracking knowing who can carry this short film. Kai Bagley, I think, did a phenomenal job as our lead, and he came to set very prepared and mature and asked great questions, and I feel like he's able to show that like internal dialogue, the internal mind of the gamer in such a great way. So yeah, he did it really well. We had some funny tricks on set filming the insert shots of the gamer perspective. We actually had a bike helmet with a camera attached to it to film some of those segments. But he did an amazing job.
Wonderful, thank you. And Zach, we've seen several of your films be at art festival over the course of the years, and you never cease to amaze us with your animation skills. But What got you into animation? And I'm sure people would be curious what kind of software you utilize because you are delving into different styles. Stories We Could Have Told was very much so in the hand-drawn look and feel, and in Eating with Father was very much so in the stop motion, play motion feel. So being able to touch it on different styles of animation. Are you just constantly learning self-taught, or what got you into this?
I mean, I think I initially wanted to be a filmmaker, but when it came down to it, just didn't have the social skills for it. So animation seemed like a good fit, honestly. Um, I mean, and in terms of software, so I use Cinema 4D a lot. I use both that and both stories we could have told you and um, my father. But most of the work that I do, especially for something like stories we could have told you, is kind of in this weird artistic, like compositing realm, which kind of takes place in After Effects, which I'm not sure. Like, I think all the 3D programs, like Cinema 4D, they're all kind of interchangeable. It's just whatever is, might as well use Blender, like, for example, because since Blender is like sort of the free version of that. I don't know of too many other programs that replace After Effects in that regard. I think there are a few. I should try them out. Anyway, so that's for the nerds, the software nerds in the audience.
So, I'm also curious about initial concepts and why. Like, what initially sparked the inspiration? Lori, sort of,
Mhm.
we've had an ongoing series of squirrel adventures with you, so it continued your unique path down squirrel animation. Nina, you talked about how connected with your friend as well. Katie, what was the initial spark? Um, of deciding I'm going to go ahead and make a movie about a child who perceives the world as if it's a video game. Because there's the, oh, that would be a cool idea. Then there's the actual motivation of let me sit down and actually create this. And sometimes the two never quite meet, right? So what was was there a point where you were like, you know what, parents need to see this, and so I'm just going to make it.
I heard most of what you just said. But I'm going to go with what I heard. And I think the funny story about gamers, it was a very, it came out of a moment of my life where I was driving to audition for a gaming company. And I was kind of feeling a little grumpy about the audition and the time that I committed to. And I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Like, I chose to do this. This is a great opportunity. I want to be thankful. And I decided in my mind that day that I would turn everything into a video game in my mind since it was a gaming audition and just kind of played with everything. And I think because of that experience and that playfulness that I had that day, I was like, oh, this could be a short film. And I really wanted to showcase the perspective of adults and parents sometimes getting it wrong. Not, oh, we think we know what's going on with kids and in their minds, and we don't. We can't see into anyone's minds. So it just was a culmination of that moment in time for me, and then also wanting to challenge myself to write a very short film and to see if I could write a story that moved in that context. So it was just a fun experiment. There are multi layers of why I wanted to make it, and it does touch on a few of those things. So hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah. Zach, how did you get connected with Darcy? Because Stories We Could Have Told was Darcy's film about a mother and young daughter. At what point did Darcy decide, you know what, I want to make these stories animated and I know just the guy to do it for me?
Uh, I can't remember. I mean, yeah, this business is so much about connections. She definitely knew someone who knew someone who knew me, and I think she checked out my work, and I think Darcy was an amazing person to work with. And I think part of that is that she was really rolling the dice with an animator. For a job like that, you do like a lot of tests, and you do, it's kind of my job to say, well, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Because I mean, as everyone on the stage knows, animation, it's kind of no joke when it comes to like, it's frame by frame filmmaking. So you can spend a week on something, and if someone doesn't like it, can be a rough situation for a freelancer. But I think that what like working with her was just she just took a chance on me. She rolled the dice, and but we ended up working really well together. She was a great, wonderful director to work.
And on that same note, Katie, did you do the visual effects, or did you hire someone to do the visual effects for your gamer, and how did all of that come about?
Yes, I hired somebody. I hired a very patient, wonderful person named Nick Escobar, and then my editor was Kelly Song, and they both were incredibly wonderful to work with and really helped shape the way Gamer turned out visually. The irony of me making this is I'm not a gamer myself. And so when they were like, what do you want the HUD to look like? I'm like, well, tell me again what a HUD is. So it was a little like I was in over my head a tiny bit. But yeah, I feel so grateful to the two of them, and we're working on stuff again. So
Wonderful. And Nina and Lori, I will give you two the final word before we go on to our next film here. Any final thoughts on both of your films that you think people should know?
I just hope everyone gets a chance to see it. It's kind of different and unexpected. It's more about taking a journey and actually having a moment and kind of taking a breath and just letting yourself go on the journey and enjoy the moment. So I hope you all get a chance to see it.
And as a reminder, her film is available in the online portion. We have about 10 to 12 films in the online exclusive portion of our festival. So please check out Listen to the Spirit. And Lori?
Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you for having my film in KIFF, and as well as if you watch the film, it's interesting to talk with somebody else because they might have a different perspective on the squirrels and past history, or if they just haven't recently met, and that gives a whole different take on the story. And I talking to friends and family when I was doing the editing, I kept getting these different versions, and I was just like, oh, like does that work with the story? Like how I resolve it in the end and stuff. And everybody said yes, but that was like a very interesting thing because I didn't want to lead the audience and like so everybody has their own unique experience. So I think that's a really interesting point.
Wonderful. And same to Zach and Katie for both of you. Any final thoughts or things that you hope that people get out of watching your films?
I'll go first, Katie. Sorry. I, I don't, I mean, my final thought is to just thank everyone in the audience for coming out and supporting these films. I mean, um, animation is hard to make. Movies are in general are hard to make. So we're kind of supported by you all in the audience. And thank you also for, being a part of this, like, and KIFF, basically. It's such an amazing resource for Oregon filmmakers. So thank you for that.
And
yes, I want to echo. It's just an honor to be with all of you. Gamer has been such a wonderful experience. We actually just filmed two more episodes to make it a little mini series. So I'm excited to get those through post. But it's an honor to be with all of you. It's an honor for anyone to watch our work. I mean, we all know how much grit and toil we put into it. So, and it feels really amazing to have people spend that time watching. And I just want to say thank you to KIFF too. You all have been really wonderful. I'm sad I can't be there with you in person, but I do hope to be down there another time.
Zach, Katie, Nina, and Lori, thank you so much for joining our panel today. discuss the animated films in KIFF 2023. Thank you so much, all of you. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us. And thank you, audience, as well. Our next film is Killing Lake Abert. It is a documentary about a lake out in Lake County, about 100 miles east of us here. So, Zach and Katie, thank you so much for joining us. Lori, Nina, thank you for your ongoing assistance and help with all that we do.